Is work-life balance actually possible? And if it is, then how in the world do you achieve it? If you've ever wondered the answers to these questions, then keep watching this week's episode. Welcome back, Mind Body Babes. I am Alisha Robertson if you are new here. And here at Mind Body Brand, I encourage women entrepreneurs to prioritize rest while they are building their businesses and managing the chaos of daily life. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then hit subscribe, because this is the place that you'll want to be each and every Sunday. So first, let's just discuss the elephant in the room. Is work-life balance even a thing? So I have a bit of like a love-hate relationship with work-life balance, because on one side, I feel like it is BS. But on the other side, I do really see the value of having time to work in your business or in your career, and while also having the time to like live the life that you desire. So I've thought about this for a really long time, for many years, just what my thoughts around work-life balance is. And for a long time, I will say I didn't believe in it. But I believe that in this current state that we're in 2024 and beyond, if you're watching this in the future, we just have to change our definition of a work-life balance. So I believe that when a lot of people think about work-life balance, they believe that they have to give the same amount of themselves to everything that they're doing in their life. If I'm giving 100% to my career, then I have to give 100% of me to my family. And if I'm giving 100% to my family and my career, then I need to put 100% into my business. But that just isn't possible. If you're constantly trying to give 100% of you and dropping 100% of you into all of these buckets, then you never leave any for yourself. And it's honestly impossible to divide yourself up that many times evenly. And I think that's where a lot of people get work-life balance, or for the sake of this video, work-rest balance. So I really do think we need to like shift our definition of what that is. So I believe that instead of believing that we need to give the same amount to ourselves into every single bucket that we have, that we need to focus on what needs to be prioritized in this current season that we're living in. So I believe in seasons, just like, spring, winter, summer, fall. I believe that our lives go through these same seasons. And there will be some seasons in your life where your career really needs to be focused. It needs to be prioritized above everything else. There will be some seasons where your family should be the main focus above everything else. There will be some seasons where your health should be the main focus. And I believe that these seasons come in and out. They flow in and out, just like the seasons that we experience like out in the world. So during those seasons, you just have to be very clear of what needs your priority. And that's how you should be splitting up your work-life balance, instead of trying to give your all to everything. So let's say, for example, because I love examples, about a year ago, I went through just a really transformative experience. I had my daughter. I had experienced just some really deep postpartum depression, which brought up a lot of like how I wasn't taking care of myself, and how I was running my business, and how my business was just burning me out over and over and over again. So I decided to quit. I quit everything but being a parent, I promise. I decided to take some time off from entrepreneurship so that I could, one, heal, and really just figure out what it is that I wanted to do. So in that season, and I took about a year to do that, in that season, my own mental health was, and my physical health, honestly, was my priority in that season. I had to let something go in order to take the energy that I would have given my business. I had to take that back and pour it back into myself. I didn't have 100% to be able to give to my business and give to my mental health at the same time. So I had to make a decision in that moment, in that season, of what was going to be prioritized. For you, you may be in a season where your business is booming, it's thriving, and you know if you can just get past this thing, everything will be smooth sailing. Then maybe in this season of like you launching or you doing this incredible marketing campaign or you writing this book, that more of you needs to go into focusing into that business. If you are newly married, if you just had a child, if you are all of a sudden a caregiver to a parent, then you know in those seasons, then you need to give a little more of you to those things. I don't believe it's ever going to be even. There is never a time in life where I feel like we can equally give ourselves 100%, give our family 100%, give our careers 100%, give our businesses 100%. I don't believe that that is doable while also being healthy and prioritizing rest. Not saying that you completely neglect all of these other things, but I'm saying in this season, if you had to choose one or two places where your main focus was going, that's what work-life balance actually looks like. In some seasons, work is up here and maybe life things are down here. In other seasons, the scales move. So you have to just figure out and be very clear on what is your priority in this current season. So what if you are in a current season where work is like really taking over? Let's say your business is like really booming right now. Your business is taking off. You are feeling good about what you're doing and you don't want to slow down the momentum right now. How do you continue to go hard and work in your business, but still make time for rest, make time for you, make time for the things that you really care about? So I'm not saying, again, that each is going to get, an equal amount of you, because again, in this season, your business is requiring more of you. But that doesn't mean that you have to neglect yourself completely. So if you're in this season where work is booming, how do you realistically take care of yourself in the meantime? So first, focus on what absolutely needs to get done every day. So in your business, it's so easy to say, I'm going to sit here and answer these 100 emails or unsubscribe from these 1,000 newsletters. But it's like, are those really important right now? Or it's so easy to say, oh, I'm going to, just redo my website and redesign my logo and pick a new color palette. And I am definitely not talking about myself here, but it's so easy to do all of these things in your business that may be important at some point, but it's not really going to like tip the scales or really matter. So focus on what absolutely needs to get done so that you can use your working hours to focus on tasks that are either going to help you grow your business or are going to make you some money. That's where your main focus should be when you're figuring out what you should be doing on a day-to-day basis. And if you're focusing more on the tasks that absolutely need to get done, not only will you figure out or find out that you are a lot more productive, but you're also freeing up a lot more time that you can then pour into rest and pouring into taking care of yourself. So focus on what absolutely needs to be done in that moment. All right, so the second thing that you can do to begin really making rest a priority in these busy work seasons is to give each day a theme. So I started doing this when I really became like a full-time entrepreneur, and I realized that I was BSing a lot of my day, to be honest with you. I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. But what helped me in that time was giving each day a theme. So meaning, let's say, for example, Mondays are admin days. So Mondays are days where I check emails, where I respond back to emails, where I make sure I pay myself. I go over finances, things like that. And on that day, that is what I do. I don't dip my toe into anything else unless an emergency comes up, of course. But that on that day, that is what I focus on. Let's say for Tuesdays. Tuesdays are my newsletter writing days because my newsletter comes out every Wednesday. My newsletters are something that is so important to me. So on Tuesdays is where I focus on doing my research. I focus on writing and putting together my newsletter so that it can be sent out at the same time every single Wednesday. And then let's say Wednesdays are the days where you're like really focusing on marketing. You're creating content. You are being more active on social media. That's what you focus on Wednesdays. So you see how each day can have a theme. So when you're focusing on that, you can go into each day saying, okay, I know how long it's going to take me to read emails, to respond back to these people so that I can knock this out in 3-4 hours. And then I'll have 2 hours to, take a nap before I go pick up the kids. Or I know marketing days are going to be a little bit heavy. So the night before, I need to make sure I go to bed at a decent time and that I get a good night's sleep so that I can have more energy when it's time for me to record and do all of this content. So scheduling your days by a theme, again, helps with productivity, but it also makes sure that you know exactly where time for yourself can fit into your day. And once you get into the groove of that, and I know a lot of you have full-time jobs while you're running your businesses. I potentially will one day be that person too. But like right now, while I'm just doing my business, Mondays are my me days. Mondays are the days where I try not to do anything that is business related. That is how I block off time for rest during like a busy rest season. So then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then sometimes Saturdays, I can fully focus on doing work in my work hours while still feeling like I am refreshed. So try scheduling every day by a theme so that 1, you're getting things done, but 2, you also know how you can fit in more time for rest. The third thing that you can do to really focus more on rest in these busy seasons is to set some boundaries. Set boundaries not only around you, but set boundaries around you and your time and those people around you. So if you can set a boundary and say, I am available to emails, I am available to calls, I am available to questions during this set of time. I am available to my children, I am available to my family, but at the end of the day, I want this 1 hour just to myself. And by the way, I think that everybody should take 1 hour a day to themselves, but we'll talk about that another day. You want that 1 hour to yourself. You need to communicate that with the people around you. And you also need to make sure you're setting that boundary around yourself. So that means telling your spouse or talking to your spouse about, okay, for this 1 hour, if these kids wake up, I need for you to go get them. Because if I'm in my hour, I can't do it. Or if you are working during the day and you want to take that 1 hour for your lunch break, cut off your phone. Cut off your phone, disconnect from Zoom, exit out of Slack so that you're not bothered during that 1 hour a day that you have. If you have more, great. If you have to split that hour up into 25-minute increments, do what you have to do to make sure that you are getting the rest you need, but also make sure that you're not only setting those boundaries, but you're communicating those boundaries. You can't be pissed off with somebody about them crossing a boundary if you've never communicated that with them. In the same way with yourself, I've talked about this in another video, but if you are going to set boundaries around yourself, then make sure that you are eliminating any distractions that are going to tempt you to cross your own boundary. So when you know how much time you have for rest, you have whatever time you have for yourself, make sure you are very intentional and serious about that time and setting boundaries and communicating those boundaries to make sure that that time is not interrupted. the fourth way to really focus on rest and kind of balancing it with your work life is to get a good quality of sleep. I am not a good person if I don't sleep well. I have an attitude. I am not pretty. I don't want to do any work. I'm not productive, and it really throws off my entire day. And I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. We're all humans. We all need a good quality of sleep. And I know you're probably like, what does that have to do with work-life balance? Well, it means that you need to be able to cut off your work at a reasonable hour every night, despite of how much you have to get done, so that you can be in the bed, and not just be in the bed, but be in the bed sleep, and not just be in the bed sleep, but be in the bed sleeping well. You want to make sure you are increasing your quality of sleep, because if you're not sleeping well, your entire next day is going to be thrown off. And you're going to end up wasting hours on hours that you could be using to work, trying to get yourself together because you didn't sleep well. So increasing your quality of sleep, whether that be not looking at your phone an hour before it's time to go to bed, whether that be incorporating an entire nighttime routine that just helps you to calm down and silence the thoughts in your head so that you can sleep better. If that means reading a book before you go to bed, or changing your sheets, or lighting some candles and setting the tone, do what you need to do to get a good night's rest, because that really does make a difference in how you work in your next day and how you feel in that next day. And if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not filling up your cup. And I will say this over and over and over again until I'm blue in the face. If you are not giving yourself enough love, enough care, enough treatment, then you have nothing to give anyone else. So increase that quality of sleep if you really want to get better at work life or work rest balance. So I know in these busy seasons, it can be really easy for you to say, oh, I'll just take a nap later, or I'll go for that walk later, or I really don't need to work out today, or I don't really need time for rest or to do anything. It can be so easy in these busy seasons, especially when you're building and growing your business and everything feels so exciting and new. It can be so easy to put yourself to the side. But I want you to please remember that you are the priority. And if you are not doing your best, then you can't give your best to your business. All right, y'all. So let me know in the comment section, do you believe that work-life balance is achievable? If so, let me know how. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode, and I will see you next Sunday.